Okay, so let us have a quick talk on labs. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can write any lab report. Yeah, and then, but before you can even get to that, let me just quickly guide you on labs as you prepare for your first lab and all that. So these are the things which you should put into mind as you prepare for your labs. So when you are going for the labs, number one of the most important things is to be punctual. You don't want to miss out the opening words and the instructions which will be given. So ensure you are punctual, always punctual, and then have your lab requirements in order. Will your lab require a thermometer? Will it require graphs? Have everything in order, and then always participate in the lab. So especially when you're in a group, or even if it's not a group work, always ensure you participate. You ask where you are not clear. This will help you to remember what to write in the lab report. Yeah, at least you have much to write on. And then always be social. So you can't write a lab report just solo. You are just alone, quiet. Be social. Talk around. Talk with the people around. This will be very helpful because a lot of people will have samples like lab reports from previous years. So the more you interact with others, the more you'll be exposed. Yeah, so be social, and a very important thing, to ask the instructor necessary questions. Yeah, so always feel free to ask them, like, okay, there, what if this and that. You even ask, like, how do I write the discussion? Yeah, whatever they say, ensure you pay attention. So ask as much as possible, what should we do here? Yeah, in the lab, don't do things, don't do what you think, do what you are told to do. And then write the lab report immediately after the lab. Yeah, so for those who are in natural sciences, will be given like a day, sometimes a few days, sometimes a week. That's maximum. So just ensure you write it as soon as possible. You don't want to keep the lab report waiting. For those in medicine, pharmacy and biomed, you'll be given a minimum of 1 week. Sometimes it will be 2 weeks. Just don't take too much time. Write the lab report while the things are fresh. Yeah, and also for all the other people doing lab-based programs. And then a very important thing is to write neatly. So I can assure you that if two people write the same lab report, they write the exact things, but the way the information is presented will result in difference of marks. So always write neatly, and then you write according to what the instructor wants. If the instructor says write in points form, you also write in points. Don't write in paragraphs when you are told to write in points. When they say write in paragraphs, you write in paragraphs. Yeah, so this is very important. It will score you marks, and it will make your lab report stand out. Whatever they say, the reference, if they say Harvard reference in style, you also follow that. Follow exactly what they say. So if you have any questions, you can always feel free to inbox me. So for those doing medicine, biomed and pharmacy, I'll guide you further in the group. And then for those also doing natural sciences, we'll talk. And for you, there's actually this document which highlights how you can write, what you should consider when writing a biology lab report, physics lab report, chemistry lab report. Yeah, so you find it in this document. Ensure to inbox me, I send it to you. Okay, so that is just the cover page of the document I'm talking about. Yeah, so now let's go to actually writing a lab report. So how do you write a lab report, and what should you put in mind? Yeah, so this is for each and every lab, like any kind of lab, how should you write the lab report? So let's look at the format and the layout. So a lab report should have a title. Yeah, there's no lab report without a title. If you don't write a title, then you are qualified to get a 0. So ensure the title is there in capital letters and it is centered. And then you should now write your objectives and your aim. So on this part, remember I said you do what you are told to do. So some instructors will say the aim should be on one page, objectives on another page. Do just that. Or others will say the aims and objectives should be together. So the aims and the objectives, one of the best ways of writing, you can be writing them in question form. You write, okay, yeah, depending on the lab. So if you have specific questions on specific labs, you can always reach out to me. And then we have apparatus and materials. So ensure you write this part for those doing NS. For medicine, biomed and pharmacy and other programs, this is not very important. You won't get any marks here. But for those in A levels, natural sciences, you write the apparatus and materials. And then we go to the introduction, which is also called theory. So here you just now give the details of the lab. It is more like you are now explaining the title. You give the definitions which are needed. Yeah, you just give a background information. So that's the theory. Some lab manuals will say introduction. And then number 5, we talk about the method and procedure. So these are just the same thing depending on how your lab is looking like. So procedure, you just write now what you are doing in the lab. Procedure should always be in past tense. So let me just give you this quick example. Okay, so this is basically just an example of a physics lab manual. This is lab 1. So I'm explaining on the procedure. So for each and every lab, you'll be given what is called a lab manual. So now in that lab manual, it will give you instructions like what you have to do. So like here, for example, they say examine the meter rule and record the information. So what you write in the lab report, you say the meter rule was examined and the information was recorded in the table. You see that? That's how you write. Examine the vernier caliper. In the lab report, you say the vernier caliper was examined and the information was recorded. So this is how you write on the procedure. Ensure it is in past tense because you are writing a lab report. You are giving a report of what was done in the lab. And just another quick example here. We have this is a lab manual for physiology for those in the School of Medicine and Health Sciences. So like in the lab manual, the instruction is examine the clinical thermometer and note the marking. So you have to say the clinical thermometer was examined and the marking was noted. Yeah, so we are just giving an example. So this is for those doing medicine, pharmacy and biomed, they are lab 1. And so this is basically what you do for each and every lab. For any kind of lab out there, for any specific course. Method and procedure, whether you are doing microbiology, you just say, you put the things in past tense. Yeah, and then now we proceed. Number 6, data collection or results. So mainly for NS, you'll be taught to write the data collection. And then for those in other programs, it can be as results. So data collection, mainly it will just be tables. You write a table of the things which you found. Like you measured the vernier calipers. What were your findings? You write those data collection. You recorded temperature. What did you find? You write the data collection. Yeah. So here you earn marks. And then what else can we talk about? Okay, and then we have what is called the data analysis. So this is for courses which involve calculations like physics and chemistry. You have to show all your calculations. You earn marks here, especially in physics. If there's need for converting any units, show all the calculations. What you did here and there, you are analyzing the data. So that is data analysis. For courses like biology, physiology, you won't need much of the data analysis. And then discussion. This is the most important part of any lab report. So here in discussion, also called observation, you are going to now explain the data collection. You're also going to explain the data analysis. Okay, the calculation was like this. This means that and that. If it's biology, what you saw was this. It means this and that. Yeah, you also explain the data analysis. You even discuss like if it's possible that there's an error. Let's say, for example, you are doing measurements and then all the results were like 38, 39, and then you find a 70. You are going to put this in discussion to say this was like a possible error. Yeah, or you are doing measurements on temperature. The normal body temperature, it is around 37.5, but you find 50. You are going to discuss. This means that this person is having high temperature or that. So you discuss data collection and data analysis. You have to discuss the results. Quickly moving on, conclusion. You now conclude. Remember I said on the aims and objectives, it is good when you put in form of questions. The conclusion is going to answer those questions. Yeah, so you can always reach out like how you can draft your lab report. Of course for free. So conclusion, you now just summarize everything. Therefore, the lab was successful. Yeah, and then from there, you've input references. Remember I said use what is told. The famous one is Harvard referencing style. So you write the references according to how you are taught. Yeah, so this is basically how you write any lab report. In case you have any questions or you need any help, you can always inbox me on this line. Yeah, so yeah, we end here. Any questions, just feel free to reach out.